What's going on, everyone? My name's Tenebris Infinite, and the Dangerous Experiments update has dropped today. This update's brought with it 3 new experimental weapons, a farmlands revamp, stuff going on with the Apple murders, the brand new Eastern European weapons pack, the new schematic skill tree, bug fixes, and quality of life improvements. It is a massive update. So we're gonna do as we usually do, and let's read through these patch notes. Then we're going to have a whole bunch of videos out today covering farming the new weapons to the new Apple murders. It's going to be a very busy day for me. But for now, let's look at these patch notes. So the patch notes read as follows. Hello everyone. We're happy to bring you our latest update to Generation 0, Dangerous Experiments. This update will do precisely what it says, to bring you new dangerous top secret military plunders, as well as a whole lot more to make Ostertorn even better. Let's start with what you've been all talking about, the new experimental weapons. The Resistance has been really nifty this year with both new weapons and tactical equipment. And to end the year on a high note, they've now managed to salvage 3 brand new top secret experimental weapons for you to start using. These weapons will have a chance to drop as all other experimental ones by defeating rivals, reapers, and completing base defense missions. But enough talk about the Resistance, let's take a look at what they've put together. The Experimental 44 Magnus, the Shrapnel Gun. Shred your enemies to pieces with the Experimental 44 Magnus. This cannon will blast straight through your enemies and materials to create a shotgun-like blast behind your target, surprising any foe that might be behind with its deadly shrapnel blast. Great for crowd control. The Experimental KVM-89, the Thermal Machine Gun. It's getting hot in here. The KVM-89 just got an experimental alloy upgrade. At low temperatures, the alloy has terrible performance. It's inaccurate and inefficient. But when the heat's on and the temperature rises, the barrel alloy performs exceptionally well, giving you extreme accuracy, efficiency, and damage. Be careful though, you don't want to overheat it. And lastly, the Experimental Algstutzer, the artillery rifle. As you fire the bullet from the experimental ALG, it's covered by a slow-burning coating, slowing the bullet down a bit, but completely changing its behavior. The longer the bullet stays in the air before it hits something, the higher the energy buildup of the coated shell. At short ranges, it does minor damage, but as the travel time of the bullet increases, so does the damage. A true resistance fighter makes this weapon exceptionally lethal by hitting targets that are more than 100 meters away. And that is a really interesting experimental effect. I can't wait to pick myself up an ALG and see what the heck that really could do. Thomas, one of our game designers, has this to say about the new experimental weapons. We know that many of you appreciate realistic depictions of real-world firearms. We also acknowledge that there are many of you that enjoy a moderate dose of sci-fi. Thus, we decided to introduce more experimental weapons to the game. Top secret, military, prototype weapons that balance in between realism and fiction. Make the most out of these weapons by leaning into their experimental nature. Conduct your own experiments in the field to figure out how to use them efficiently. If unsure where to start, read the weapon description to get a general idea of its function. Want to turn the experimental up to 11? Try combining these with experimental ammo and see what happens. These have been very interesting to develop, and we hope you have as much fun using them as we had making them. North Coast Collectibles. Time to go on a hunt again. A new collectible set has been added to Ostertorn, bringing you 9 new war figurines and a strategic map to go with them. These collectibles are spread all across the North Coast for you to find. If you know your way around Ostertorn well enough and manage to find them all, you'll be treated with a deeper understanding of what really happened as the Soviets came to Ostertorn. Amanda, our mission designer, adds, with these collectibles, we wanted to give some more information about why the Soviets came to Ostertorn. What goals do they have in Ostertorn, and what hardships they met as they arrived? The narrative is focused on the experiences of different individuals among the Soviet forces. Through these soldiers' eyes, we were able to give a new perspective on what's happening in Ostertorn and how it is to live in this dystopian war between machines. We hope you'll enjoy these stories and the pretty figurines that come with them. New Schematic Tree. Crafting schematics will now be unlocked in an entirely new way. Previously, you found them hidden throughout the world. You will now be able to unlock them through the Schematics Tree. 5 new paths, each allowing you to purchase schematics with its own currency of points. Each currency is earned by crafting items or completing specific gameplay. Additionally, where the schematics previously could be found in the world, there are now new pickups that will give you schematic points and experience to help you jumpstart your progression. And don't worry, if you've already picked up a schematic out in the world, it will be unlocked for you already. One of the pain points of crafting in the past has been unlocking schematics, particularly for newer players. Having only a small number of schematics to unlock stops them from taking full advantage of the system, and there was no clear path to unlock more. Now, with the Schematic Tree, unlocking schematics becomes much more straightforward and gives players more agency over which schematics they unlock first. We hope this lets more players craft what they want and in turn can play how they want by crafting the ammo and consumables they most enjoy using. The senior systems designer Matthew comments. And we can see here, just before we even get into the game, that apparel schematic points can be earned when you defeat rivals. So it's just a new reason to continuously farm rivals out there. And now for the crafting improvements, and there's actually something really cool in here with the crafting improvements. So along with the addition of the schematics tree, you can now craft 17 consumables that you couldn't craft before. To make it more intuitive for the player where to find the materials to craft items, we've also made it so they can be found more predictably from logical sources. Wondering where these materials can be found? It's now explained in the description of the craftable item. Talking about recycling, you can now see ahead of time what recycling an item would actually give you back. And finally, this is the cool thing, you can now tag items used to craft to keep track of what you're looking for and see when you've found the right thing. And that's going to be huge. That's going to be absolutely massive for bulk crafting in the future. These last several patches have all included improvements to crafting, and this is the next piece of the puzzle. Crafting is more useful than before, giving you access to more items and making it easier to seek out the resources you need. We hope you enjoy the crafting improvements and look forward to hearing what you think of it, says Matthew. Man, this is a beefy update. So next up, we've got performance updates. There are not only new things introduced to the game with this update, but we've also taken a look at how the game performs and how we can improve that for you players. Here's a short rundown from our gameplay programmer, Julio. Memory optimization. Now the game should use less memory. This should help the players on earlier console versions to experience much fewer crashes while playing, especially in very big cities. This is a step in the right direction, and we're constantly working to improve this to prevent crashes while roaming with vehicles, which is really good to hear. I'm really hoping the team can knuckle that out for console players. Then next up, we've got the FPS boost, where we worked on improving the CPU workload in heavy FPS heavy situations like chaotic fights and roaming in big cities. This should ensure the player a smoother experience, especially on Gen 8 consoles. Man, the focus on last gen consoles is great. And then lastly here, streaming time improvements. The game should be able to stream certain big areas faster now, resulting in less loading time and fewer graphic artifacts when moving fast. All of the above was done without reducing the graphic quality or touching the rendering pipeline of the game. This means that the graphics of the game isn't changed and still remains amazing, but also that players on PC that were GPU bound won't see any improvement unless they reduce the graphic settings. All of this stuff right here, amazing to see. The fact that we're getting these performance improvements without sacrificing anything along the way is just, that is the optimization that Generation Zero needed to see, and I am just very happy that the team is pulling that together. So next up, the farmland improvements. The farmlands has gotten a little bit of a retouch. With the New Dawn update, we introduced 12 new control points to the farmlands. Now, we've taken a stab at 3 of them to offer a more varied experience and expand on the narrative a bit. Look out for these changes. The Flota control point. This one has turned into a community-grown garden with allotment garden plots used by the locals in the past. Post-Cataclysm, this location has been used by the Resistance as a source of food production, and now players can set up their base in this garden to protect the potatoes, man. Let's go. Then, the Broangan Dirt Track control point. Oh, man, yes, for the dirt bikes. Let's go. This one used to be a regular farm field. Now it has changed into a dirt track for motorbike riders. Within the build area for the control point, there are also opportunities for some stunt riding. Let's go, man. And then lastly, the Overby control point. Located south of the airfield, there used to be a farm field where machines and the Swedish military had battled each other. The narrative has been expanded upon, and 2 lines of defense trenches have been dug out around the control point. The first line has been overrun, and the second one is more fortified and acts as a second line of defense. And I think this is our first control point with a trenches in them, which, yeah, man. No, but I'm really looking forward to building at all of these control points. I think that the more conceptually driven control points are the best, and so I'm going to have a ton of fun with all 3 of these. And then lastly, have you been to the places with apples? Beneath a growing tree, the apples are placed. But can you see their beauty? It's time to feel. And we are absolutely playing through this, so expect videos on that one later. And then we've got just a small selection of bug fixes and some known issues. I highly advise popping on over to check those out. Links to this will be in the description down below. So please, let me know all of your thoughts and feels in the comments down below. I have so much to get into today that I'm just gonna kind of wrap up the video here, but I'm looking forward to your dudes' comments and reading through them all, as I always do. But for now, my dudes, thank you very much for watching. Dangerous Experiments hype. Get out there, get some farming on, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace out, my dudes.